Hi everyone, this is Pan on Ace Podcast Nation, aka the Greek Leek. Just doing a quick podcast on the announcement that Rob Page has been dismissed from his Wales manager role after 3.5 years. This has been coming really since Iran 22. A lot of Welsh fans have been calling for his head since then. Some shocking performances in the World Cup. Unfortunately, Page was too loyal to certain players. We didn't have the legs. Should have changed it up, but didn't, and obviously only ended up with 1 point from our 3 games there. And then obviously in recent times, the shocking performance against Armenia at home, where we lost 4-2 against a side that was 71 places below us in the rankings. And I think at that time, Mel Mooney was seriously looking at other options, but we stuck with him. Obviously had a fantastic opportunity having 2 home games in the playoffs. Good performance against Finland to get through to the final. And then Poland, who have probably got their worst team in 30 years, and we couldn't put them away at home. And I think as much as it was penalties, I just feel that Page was the man. He shouldn't have been there really, and a lot of Welsh fans have been calling for his head for a couple of years. And then obviously we've gone on to these recent friendlies where the diabolical performance against Gibraltar, where he made Josh Sheehan captain, played a completely new team, absolute disastrous performance, and team selection by Page. And then the Slovakia game was just appalling again. So this has been coming for a long time, and I think, to be fair, Rob Page knew that. Obviously, he signed a contract. I think he was penciled in to stay for another couple of years till 2026. Possibly the Welsh FA paid him off, or just given him a year of those 2 years. Who knows what the agreement was with Robert Page. I really like Robert Page as a person. I think most Welsh fans did. He was highly respected by the younger players, obviously coached the under-21s. He's a passionate Welshman. No Welsh supporters could criticise Rob Page. When he played for us, he always gave 110%. He wasn't, he admits himself, a top international player, but he always gave his best for Wales. And that was Robert Page, 100% commitment, well liked by a lot of players, but really not a technical coach, not there on default, obviously, after what happened to Giggs, and his managerial career had been at lower league clubs like Northampton, and with Alan Neil, again, low level League One, League Two kind of coaching. Really, the setup, we did have other experienced players there in the setup as experienced coaches, but really, as I said, this has been coming for a couple of years, so the right decision's been made. So I wanted to just really, I know obviously he's only just been sacked, but we've got to look at the next Wales manager. And really, I mean, I think the Welsh FA have recognised that, the Red Wall membership was possibly going down. I think we have 15,000 plus members. There's been a lot of Welsh fans that are kind of angry, annoyed that he was still there. And some fans are becoming sort of not interested as much, moving forward. I think, the Welsh FA recognise that. They realise that the Nation League attendances could be going down at home. We could be half full stadium. So they've had to act, and they've acted. And this is the most important decision now, is getting the right manager who's going to galvanise the players, is going to give them the right coaching, technical coaching, the right kind of, we've got a lot of young players coming through over the next few years, and also someone who's going to inspire the fans to have confidence, so we can continue that upward momentum. I think the Welsh FA are very aware of that. So we'll look at all the kind of managers who could be considered, and put them in different categories. So you've got Steve Cooper, obviously, who would have been high on the list, but he's got Premier League ambitions. Even after he was dismissed from Forest, he was offered other jobs in Championship, rightly took the Leicester job when it was offered. I think it's the right fit for both of them. It's on 5, 6, 7 times more than he would have been on for Wales. Maybe one in the next 4 or 5 years. I'd like to see Steve Cooper managing Wales one day without question. Then you've got Rob Edwards of Luton, who obviously did well, really well, really in the Premier League, just missed out on staying up. And Rob's just signed a 4-year contract. He's got Premier League ambitions. So again, he could be one for the future. Nathan Jones at Charlton, obviously didn't do very well at Southampton in his short spell, did fantastically well at Luton and doing a great job at Charlton in his short time there, pushing them up the table. So I think I don't look at Nathan Jones as, Welsh manager level in my view, but good luck to him. And then you've got Chris Davis of Birmingham, who's obviously was Brendan Rodgers' assistant, Swansea, Leicester, Celtic, and obviously he's at Spurs. And they didn't really want to let him go, but he had the opportunity to manage Birmingham. Birmingham are looking to build a super stadium of 50, 60,000. So Chris is a young, ambitious coach, a lot of experience, and he could be one for the future. But his ambitions are as a number one with Birmingham City, and again, good luck to him. So those are the types of managers who have got jobs. They've got other ambitions at the moment. Ex-managers like Tony Pulis, very successful manager at Stoke, but been out of the game a long time. Old school type of manager, not the type of manager coach we need for Wales realistically. So he's out of the question. Mark Hughes, very successful spell when he was Wales manager, but again, coming to the end of his career, didn't do very well at Bradford City and many other clubs in the last recent years. So I think Sparky is out of the question. And then you've got Cookie Coleman, who again, legend for Wales during that difficult time, taking over from Gary Speed. And last few years has managed, Sunderland and teams in Greece, etc. I think in Russia as well. I'm not sure. He's been everywhere. But he's currently in Cyprus managing Limassol. So I think his time has passed as well. And then you can look at other managers who we could possibly look at as a possibility. And one to sort of mention really is Carl Robinson, who's been mainly in Canada and the US, currently assistant manager at DC United. So he's a youngish guy who's got quite a bit of experience in the coaching world. But I just don't think really he's going to be at the level needed for someone who may have potential. And then obviously Craig Bellamy at Burnley didn't go with Patrick Vieira at Bayern Munich. I think Burnley are looking at other options as manager, possibly Van Nistelrooy. Craig Bellamy has got ambitions to be a top coach. He's been with Patrick Vieira at company, my apologies, at Anderlecht and at Burnley. So I think Craig Bellamy is one that could be considered, but I think he's more of a coach than a manager. So, obviously there could be a role for Craig in the future, but whether he'd want to be a number one or assistant to someone is another matter. But I just don't see it happening myself. And then I've looked at sort of managers. I've got a manager who I personally would be happy to have back. I know Welsh fans have got big questions, but, for me, Ryan Giggs has the right profile in terms of, as a footballer. I know there was other baggage involved. A lot of fans might have different views about that. But I would say that Ryan Giggs, with Ossian Roberts, who obviously just recently took Como to Serie A, was assistant manager at Crystal Palace. That would be my dream team as manager and assistant manager. Ossian Roberts has got a huge amount of experience. He's a fantastic technical coach. He's highly respected. And I'm sure the FAW are looking at him. He may want the job as number one. I don't think he's a number one. I don't think he's a manager. I think he's a coach. Would he take that, with someone like a Giggs? In my view, that would be great because, yes, there has been issues in Giggs with the court cases, but that was dropped in July 23. So, it's if he hasn't been convicted, if no proceedings take place, or there's no further proceedings that will take place, I think he should seriously be considered. We've got to move on, and I think Giggs and Austin Roberts, for me, would be one of the ones to see as considered as a great combination. But the manager that I think could be the one that the Welsh FA are really looking at is a manager who could be considered the greatest Premier League player of all time, and someone who's currently managing the France under-21s since 2023, and that's Thierry Henry. Now, the reason I say Thierry Henry is because the connection with Austin Roberts. Austin Roberts, I think, was the head in the FAW when Thierry did his coaching badges down there. And there's a great connection between those two. They've got a great affiliation. Obviously, there's Patrick Vieira as well that Austin Roberts is involved with, Cesc Fabregas, etc. So I think Thierry Henry working with Austin Roberts would be a fantastic combination. Thierry obviously has got ambitions to be the French manager. I don't think that's on the cards for the next 2 or 3 years with Deschamps there. I may be wrong, but I think Thierry Henry and Austin Roberts would be a fantastic manager-coach combination for Wales moving forward. I think the fans would be inspired to have Thierry Henry as their manager. I think that would lift attendances, lift the Red Wall membership, certainly lift our profile in terms of the media and worldwide. And obviously the Welsh FA have done a fantastic job selling their coaching to the world, which has generated a huge amount of money for them. And obviously we're a small country and we need to continue on that trajectory of generating more money so we can improve facilities and infrastructure and development of youth players. I mean, we've recently qualified for 2 under-17 youth tournaments, which is the first time we've done that since 1981. So there are young players coming through the system. So I think that would be our dream team. We're really keen to hear what you think. Who do you think should be the next Wales manager? What do you think of the ones I've discussed? Is there anyone you definitely wouldn't have? Who would you definitely want to be considered as the manager? What you thought of Robert Page being dismissed? It'd be really interesting to hear from Welsh fans what they feel. But I think an announcement, it may not happen for a few weeks because obviously the Nation League games aren't happening until way after the Euros and the football season starting. I think it's around September time. So the FAW may take this time to review everyone out there, and maybe the announcement could take a few weeks. But yeah, it'd be great, guys, to hear your views and opinions. So please let us know by Twitter or on YouTube, etc., with your comments.
Just a quick one for the Legends Night. Highly recommend it. Been to quite a few other different live events. Nothing comes close to the Legends Night. Great laugh, great crowd. Very personal. Get to meet the legend, have a photo, have a chat, ask questions. Great hostess, I absolutely recommend, 100%. Get on it. 9 tickets left, get them now.
But I was saying, Merthyr has always been a football town, famously, and people always talk about this. And it was, all we did was play football. We watched Merthyr. Of course, like I said, we wanted Wales to win, but it was a football town. And we had this extraordinary period in the sort of late to 80s, early 90s, where we had this team, won everything and won Welsh Cups and went to Europe, beat Atalanta. It was ridiculous, really, looking back. We were probably the best team in South Wales at that time, regularly beating Cardiff and Swansea in the Welsh Cup, But that was a quirk of the era because Cardiff and Swansea were in the 4th division and it was full of like journeyman YTS kids. Merthyr, it was more lucrative to play football and sort of work part-time. So they had all these really good, but then of course when the money poured into football, and then Cardiff in particular really took off in the sort of late 90s, then you had the Sam era and stuff